Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Cherry Blossom Arts. This is the interview series which goes out every Tuesday at 7 o'clock with a special guest. And today's special guest is the lovely Adam. Hello, Adam.
Hello, Bexy.
Welcome to the interview series, and thank you very much for joining us.
No problem at all.
Adam, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself quickly for the audience and how you came about Cherry Blossom Arts?
Yes, certainly. So my professional life is not around theatre at all. I'm an optometrist. And when about 10 years or so ago, when my children were at primary school, an advert went in the school newsletter saying, we're doing a pantomime at the local village hall. Can anyone come and lend a hand? I like my buttons, like my gadgets, and the thought of fiddling around with a little lighting desk. I really enjoyed that idea. And so every year I've been doing pantomime or variety, and I have been doing a farcical comedy in the autumn as well for charity.
Cool.
And I do sound and lighting. Sometimes I do one, sometimes I do the other, and in a smaller production I will run both desks and prompt at the same time.
Oh, okay, you're a bit of a multitasker then. Wow.
Yeah. And as far as Cherry Blossom Arts is concerned, I saw you talking on Facebook. I think probably someone in the family lockdown tips and ideas group had shared a video of you, and I saw that, so I wanted to give a few front of house and in front of camera things a go.
Yay! So yeah, Adam's joined our lockdown drama company. We're nearly halfway through, which is terrifying to think that we're nearly halfway through. And well, actually, I don't know if we should tell you what we're doing. You're just going to have to watch this space because you will get to see it. So yay, it's lovely to have you, Adam. I've invited Adam along today because, as you know from the interview series, if you've seen any of the others, I'm inviting guests along to talk about different aspects of being involved in the theatre, whether it's amateur, whether it's professional. And Adam, like you just said, loves to do lighting and sound. He told me he does a bit of set building and set painting, but he's also tapping into the world of performing. So first of all, Adam, can you just tell me a little bit about the sound and lighting world for anybody out there that's got this burning desire to get involved in sound and lighting but hasn't got an absolute clue how to get involved? What would you tell them to do?
Of course, yeah. I mean, generally in a production, it's useful to have somebody who sort of knows how to work the kit, but actually on the night it can be quite easily run by somebody who's never done a production before, as long as they've been just shown the ropes. I have always been an amateur programmer. I like my computers, I like my gadgets, as I say.
Yeah.
And the lighting desk that was being used in the village hall at the time was just being used to run 6 incandescent lamps. They were basically putting the lights up at the start of a performance, pulling them down at the end of a performance. And I took home the instruction manual for the lighting desk and read it. The school decided to use the village hall and left some of their kit there. So we now have a much fuller system.
Right.
But I came into it knowing absolutely nothing about sound and lighting at all.
Okay.
And I came in September, and the first performance was towards the end of November. And I learned during the rehearsals. I didn't come in at any extra times and practice or anything. I learned as we rehearsed.
Oh wow, okay, that's quite exciting to hear. Was there anybody on hand at that particular show that you're doing? I'm guessing that was like 10 years ago.
That was 10 years ago, yeah.
Was there anybody on hand to give you any kind of like support in that, or were you just literally learning by yourself?
No, the lighting desk had stickers on it basically underneath one of the sliders saying use this one. And that's essentially the introduction that I had. So theatre lighting uses a system called DMX, where each light fitting is assigned a channel, and you can dim each of those channels. But the book for the lighting desk I used, it's a lighting desk called the LC 2412, which quite a few amateur companies used.
Right.
It was an easy book to get my teeth into.
Okay.
And I had a very understanding cast and crew, so they didn't mind if the lights went off halfway through rehearsal as I was trying something out. But I came in knowing that there were 6 sliders that were in use out of the 24 on the desk, and each one of those 6 sliders was linked to one of the light fittings in the village hall. And at the time we went up with gels or coloured lighting filters to stick them in front of the lights, and I went from there, really.
Wow, do you know what? I'm not at all good with things like that, and I would love personally myself to learn a bit more about sound and lighting, and already I feel like I've learned something from just that little bit of information, and already feel less anxious about giving it a go, because that is one thing. When the theatres get open again, I've already spoken to the backstage team at the theatre I'm currently working at, and I've said I really want to do some shows where I'm part of the tech crew, because I just you know, I love to learn different things. So that's really exciting. Okay, cool. So amateur theatre is obviously a really, really, really good way to get in. So go to your local amateur theatre company and just, you know, see what they've got on offer. What kind of other advice would you give somebody then that is sort of starting to learn? What have you found anything online that you came across that's helpful, or anybody particular you spoke to?
I haven't spoken to anybody else, because essentially in the group of the group of people that I work with, I know the most now about the lighting and sound systems. Online, there are fantastic resources. There's a forum I used, I believe, called Control Booth. And that is full of amateur and professional technicians.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And you can go in, essentially ask anything. They like it if you've tried to look it up and tried to do your research first. But
Sure.
There are people out there who will help. And I'm the kind of person, I've gone and got a book on DMX, so that's the type of network that wires together theatre lights. I've read up on that, and I've actually completely rewired the lighting system of the village hall.
Wow.
I like to get that in depth.
Yeah.
But you don't have to, and every company, every amateur company that I've worked with are so welcoming, and that's what has kept me doing it for 10 years as opposed to doing one show.
Yeah.
You go along for the social aspect, you go along to enjoy yourself, and you happen to get to have fun doing sound and lighting things as well.
Yeah, do you know, that's such a lovely point to make, because a lot of the time people go into amateur theatre to make some new friends and branch out a little bit in their community, or get involved in something in their community, and like you say, they end up learning and getting so much more from it than they expected, which is another reason why I love the theatre.
And it's very easy to get hooked. It's very easy to get hooked. You volunteer to do one thing, and suddenly you'll be asked for the next performance, can you just do this as well? And of course you're going to say yes.
Oh yeah, it's very easy when you're in the amateur world to be an actor, a director, a producer, a stage manager, a lighting and sound technician, a front of house man. I mean, literally, you get to do it all. I know, and I really enjoy that side of it. Okay, cool. So you also branch out a little bit into the old acting side, don't you? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to overstate that side, because essentially in our amateur drama company, if one or more of the actors can't make a particular rehearsal, I will grab a script and get up on stage. And as somebody who works behind the scenes, you will have seen the performances from the script read-throughs right the way through. So the actors will very often know their parts very well. They will know the parts of the people that they interact with on stage. But when you watch the performance from the lighting booth every time, you get a very good overview of the whole thing.
Yes.
So if during rehearsal someone wants you to step up on stage and fill in for somebody, you can do it. And I really enjoy it. So it's now been the same drama group, albeit a few little changes over the last 10 years. I know these people very well. Although I'm not a confident performer, I can very easily get up on the stage and make a complete fool of myself in front of them and not mind about it.
I love how people that aren't actually actors, if you like, because you don't class yourself as a performer, you just get up and make a fool of yourself.
Yeah.
Whereas actors, performers, never ever say that about themselves. It's hilarious, isn't it? It's hilarious how you deem it as making a fool of yourself. I love that. I love that. Okay, so and the lockdown drama company that you came to at Cherry Blossom was your way of dipping your toe in a bit more with performing, wasn't it?
It was. So there are two strands to that. There's gaining my own confidence a little bit when it comes to being up on the stage, and there's also understanding what the other actors are experiencing as well. So as you say, in amateur drama, everybody does everything. Our producer and director are the same person, and she will get up on stage and sometimes only take a small part, but in our last one she did. She had a much larger part, and so you are asked to give people a little bit of direction as well. Input is always welcome, what works, what doesn't work. And so just understanding the actors a little bit more is going to be useful to me as well.
I like that. That's really nice. And I think, again, in the amateur world, like you say, it is very useful to learn. And I think the professional world as well, but obviously in the professional world, people very much do tend to stick to their area. Let's just move on a little bit to your confidence, if you don't mind discussing that, because it really is an area that a lot of people struggle with, and actually a lot of people come to the arts to help them with their confidence. So could you, explain a little bit about your feelings of lacking in confidence a little?
Yeah, so growing up, I wasn't particularly socially confident. Being an optometrist now for the last 17 years, I meet a lot of people, and I truly believe that confidence, just like any other skill, is a learned skill. Social confidence, and so now in a small group of people I know, one-to-one with somebody, I feel very confident, but I still, the thought of getting up on a stage, the thought of performing, I would be absolutely shaking.
So that's really important. So tell me about that, because I love the fact that you feel like your confidence is, definitely grown since you were a child, and it's great when you're one-on-one or in small groups and people that you know. But what's the difference for you between that and the stage? What is it about the stage? Because this is going to resonate with so many people.
It's the probably unfounded what ifs. You get that many people in amateur drama. Chances are you're going to know a lot of them as well. What if I fall over this? What if I'm the one who forgets this feed line that then messes up the next scene? It's your mind is not concentrating fully on where you are on the stage, on the acting, on showing emotion, on your lines, you've got a lot of the processing is going into what if I mess up? What if I mess up? And I think a lot of the knock in confidence comes from that. And I play piano, I play violin, and I've done graded exams in both. And I'm very happy to sit downstairs at my piano, play, all afternoon, and feel that I played quite well. But again, put me in front of an audience. I played piano for pantomime 5-6 years ago. And I felt like a nervous wreck during the whole thing. And
bless you, that's horrible.
Things that I know that I can play if I'm here by myself are messed up by what's the next note? What if I don't remember it? And it's
that massive fear of messing it up and ruining it for everybody that's come to watch it, basically.
It is, and I think as you get older, I mentioned the phrase before, going up on stage and making a fool of myself, and when I was younger, I was very worried about that, and I think as you get older, you worry a lot less about what other people think of you anyway.
Oh, definitely.
5 years ago, even I probably wouldn't have signed up for something like the Cherry Blossom, the project that we're doing at the moment.
Wow.
But I'm at least confident enough to do that, and I'm hoping to develop that a bit more.
Oh, I'm so excited to hear that. That's really great, because for me, one of my biggest passions in life, and part of why I set up Cherry Blossom, was to encourage and empower people to do the things that they desire, regardless of their fears, restrictions, boundaries, and all that jazz. So to hear that 5 years ago you wouldn't have come to the Lockdown Drama Company and now you're coming, will also really resonate with people that are sat at home thinking, I really want to do something like this, but I just don't feel like I can. You can do it. Yes. You can do it.
And I think this is where a lot, for example, at home, I'm quite happy to sing all the time, put on accents, try and do impressions of people, that sort of thing. But again, on a stage, you're so worried about messing up that suddenly those accents you've been doing, the way that you feel in your head, you can do justice to the script. Suddenly everything's coming out monotonous and flat because you're more worried about messing up than you are on processing what's going on around you.
Oh, so what do you think you could do about that? Because from my perspective as an actor, performer, for me, that's the rehearsal process. The rehearsal process is to make all those mistakes, to go through that process of getting things right, to getting it locked into the body, into the muscle memory, if it's an accent or a way I'm moving and things like that, or the songs that I'm singing. And the performance nights are my way, in a strange way, to showcase all that hard work. Do you see what I mean? And to be able to share that journey with the audience through the performance. So without the actual end performance, it's almost like all that work is not worth it in a way. So that's like my perspective. So how could you, like, I don't know what the answer to this is at all, but how could you, because it's so different, your experience or your fear of performing to a live audience and say mine, how could you like change that? I don't know. I don't even know what
I wish I knew. I mean, as I say, I'm pretty convinced that most behaviours are learned. And it's probably a case of getting up there, being petrified the first time you perform in front of an audience, maybe making the odd slip, and just realising that actually it doesn't matter. Actually, you made a slip from that script there, but the audience haven't got the script in front of them. They haven't got a clue.
Yeah, totally. I'm only asking all this as well because I'm sort of thinking about it from a teacher's perspective as well. But, you know, I feel so compelled to help people overcome those sorts of obstacles, because the liberation and the buzz and the just like self kind of like, you know, euphoria of being able to step over that type of hurdle in life is just so rewarding and amazing, that anybody that came to me, and if for example you came to me as a student and said, this is what I want to do, it would be like, yes, you know, that would be like one of the best challenges, because I know that the end result for you would be amazing. And I don't think there's any actor that doesn't step on the stage with some form of, I hope I remember my line, or what's that line there? Because sometimes you go blank before you walk on. And I think if I've learned anything as a performer, it is just to have faith that I will be fine, regardless of whether I trip over, fall off the stage, you know, vomit on the stage, or get my lines wrong. That it's live performance, and whatever does go wrong will ultimately end up being part of the performance as it was meant to be. I know that sounds a bit oogie-woogie, but
you're doing comedy, it's going to get an extra laugh anyway, isn't it?
Exactly. And that's part of what people love live theatre for. They go for the live experience, and when things go wrong, I don't think I've ever heard somebody come out of a live show when there's been a technical mistake or something like that going, oh well, that was just tragic, wasn't it? They're like, oh, do you remember when that happened? Oh yeah. You know, so okay, cool. All right, so finally, what would you say to somebody like you, Adam, who has either not yet dabbled in the world of sound and lighting, or has a bit, but also wants to kind of like explore a bit of the performance world? What would you say to them? What would your advice be?
Do it.
That's the message in every interview that we have. There's a theme here.
Yeah. And you know, don't get me wrong, I am not looking to get out of the sound and lighting side. I absolutely love the technical side. That's sort of the way my brain works, and I'm very, very happy sitting in a control booth at the back of a theatre, there in front of my sound desk or my lighting desk. I love doing that.
And you know, can I also just make a point on that? I would say that there's a lot of people that actually do stand on the stage that would like be terrified at the thought of controlling the lighting and sound.
Yes.
You know, so it's almost like, you know, I sit here and go, oh, it's fine, get on the stage and enjoy it and liberate yourself. But actually, if you put me behind the sound and lighting desk, I'll be like, oh my God, what's my cue? Oh, I missed it. Oh, it wasn't quick enough. And I'd have a mental meltdown. So it's the same, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that gives me a mental meltdown on a performance night is in the smaller performances. I do sound, lighting and prompting, and it's the prompting that keeps me awake at night. And it's when you're trying to do all of those things at once, it's being worried that somebody is going to miss a line and need a prompt at the point where you have a sound cue or a lighting cue. Because of course you then look away from your script, you look towards the desk, and you're dealing with that.
Yeah, I mean, that's mad. I don't think I've ever heard somebody who does sound and lighting and prompting. I mean, prompting is a full performance job in itself, so that is a task.
But you know, the sound and lighting side, I would highly recommend for anyone who's into their technical stuff at all. And it's the process as well of playing around with scenes. So now we've got 24 channels all in use on this lighting desk that used to have 6. And we've got some lighting fixtures on there that are red, green and blue, and you can mix it up. You can set essentially whatever colour that you want on the stage. And it's during rehearsal playing around with that. And then for the performance, you've programmed it all into scenes. So you've got one slider that slides up the entire scene just as you've prepared it.
Yes.
And that working out in a performance is amazing. And looking at the stage, you look at it under the fluorescent strips as the set's being built, then you look at it on the night under the coloured lighting, and the atmosphere that you can give the stage with lighting, it's an incredible feeling being able to do that.
Yeah, being able to be. So, do you design the lighting as well?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
amazing. No, it is a beautiful thing.
I also mix the sound effects at home. So
Cool.
if we need a sound effect for something, I will edit it. Sometimes, for an example, an explosion, you might get a sound wave by clapping. You've got Audacity, which is an amazing free piece of audio editing software. And by applying fades, effects, distortions to that clapping sound, you can end up with what sounds like an explosion. And
wow,
I really enjoy that process as well
of putting those together. I'm excited, Adam, because Cherry Blossom also has a production company which hasn't quite yet launched, because we were going to launch it after Easter, and as we know, everything went to pot. And I'm always looking for people to get involved in that, so it'd be really exciting to maybe get you involved when we're going off on tour. You can help us, you know, tell us what we need to do and help us with our sound effects and all that jazz.
I'd love to help out. I'd love to help. And of course, if you play your cards right and you've got a director who's prepared to go that far, you get to play with pyros as well.
Oh, well, I love that. Yeah, and I'm the sort of director that allows stuff like that. I always like pyros in my performances.
And I've over time, I've ended up with my own sound desk, my own lighting desk, and my own pyrotechnic desk as well.
Oh, lovely. Lovely. You got a nice theatre that lets you buy things that you need.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's a hobby of mine. It is something that I've ploughed some of my money into as well, just because you know, we've needed something. We would have just about been able to do it with what we had.
Yeah.
But I would quite like to use a nicer piece of kit. And as a sound technician, you end up gathering all sorts. And I've got my trusty Shure SM58.
Oh yeah, I've got one of them. Woo!
Yeah. So when I do the variety show, the sound is a full-time job by itself. So I just do the sound for that. And last year we had 8 people up on stage at once, all with their own separate microphones.
Wow. And
you know, having some nice kit of my own.
Yeah.
And I understand its little quirks. If it's my kit, I'm a little bit more confident with it. And I can do things like, for the sound, we've got these 8 microphones lined up on the stage, and because I'm using my cabling as well, I have 8 different colours of cabling.
Sure.
And on my mixing desk, I've got the same colour masking tape that's stuck under the slider for each channel, each microphone. So if I can't hear one of the performers, I can instantly see what colour cable they're on, and I instantly know what slider I need to fade up, how much I need to gain it by. And if you acquire your own bits and pieces, that it's a nice luxury.
Yeah, absolutely. It can make things a lot easier. Yeah, because sharing stuff or using equipment that also can be quite outdated as well in certain places you work. And that's time, isn't it? I mean, you've been now doing this for 10 years, so over that time you get to acquire things. And also, when people know that you do stuff like this, sometimes people donate things to you, or they'll sell them to you on a budget as well. So no, it's really, really interesting. Yay. Well, Adam, thank you so much for being part of our interview series.
You're very welcome.
It's been lovely to have you. What's your final message for the viewers?
If you are unsure whether to get involved in amateur drama, like I said before, do it. You don't have to be confident enough to get up on stage. You might wean yourself onto it by getting up during the occasional rehearsal or something like that. But backstage, interacting with performers during rehearsals is still amazing socially. Get involved.
Just do it.
Do it. do it.
That's the message. That's Adam's message. Just do it. I love that. Well, thank you so much, Adam, for being part of this wonderful interview series. It's been amazing to have you.
Thank you for asking me.
Fabulous guest. And next week we're going to be interviewing the lovely Alison, and she's going to be talking about comedy, improvisation, and script writing. Yay, how exciting. So watch this space for that. If you haven't seen our other interview series, go and check out the video section of the Cherry Blossom Arts Facebook page, and there are 5 other interviews currently on the page and growing. And if you want to get involved in anything Cherry Blossom, direct message us. If you want to speak to Adam again, direct message us. We'll put you in touch. And if you want to be a guest on the interview series because you feel like you've got something to say, direct message us as well. Yay. But for myself and the lovely Adam, we bid you night night.
Bye.
Bye.